We like to imagine the night sky as peaceful, a beautiful ceiling of distant stars hanging silently above our world. But beyond the thin layer of air wrapped around Earth, space is not calm. It is a place where entire planets are scorched, frozen, crushed, and erased by forces powerful enough to destroy worlds. And as we move farther through the solar system, one question becomes impossible to ignore. Why did Earth survive when so many other worlds did not? Our journey begins with Mercury, the closest planet to the Sun. Here, the Sun dominates the sky like a giant sphere of nuclear fire. During the day, temperatures soar high enough to melt metal. At night, the heat escapes into space so quickly that the planet plunges into a deep freeze. Mercury is a world trapped between two extremes, but it is only the beginning. Not far away lies a planet that may once have looked more like Earth than Mercury ever did. And today, it is one of the most terrifying worlds in the solar system. That world is Venus. From orbit, it seems strangely familiar. Its size is close to Earth's, and scientists once wondered whether it might have been habitable. But Venus became something else entirely. Beneath its thick clouds lies an atmosphere so dense that it would crush a human body within moments. Temperatures are hot enough to melt lead, and sulfuric acid drifts through the sky like toxic rain. The most unsettling part is this. Some evidence suggests Venus may once have had oceans. If that is true, an entire potentially habitable world was transformed into a planetary catastrophe. And then there is Earth. Seen from space, our atmosphere looks astonishingly thin. Every ocean, forest, city, and human life exists beneath that fragile shield of air. One small change, and Earth could have become another Venus. Nearby, the Moon preserves the scars of ancient violence, proof that the early solar system was far more dangerous than it appears today. But nowhere is the warning clearer than on Mars. Because Mars may be showing us what happens when a living world slowly dies. Today, Mars is a frozen desert of dust, rock, and radiation. But ancient river valleys and dried lake beds reveal that it was once very different. Something changed. As Mars cooled, it lost the magnetic shield that once protected its atmosphere. Over billions of years, the solar wind stripped that atmosphere away, leaving behind the barren world we see today. Mars is more than a dead planet. It is a warning. Under slightly different conditions, Earth could have followed the same path. Beyond Mars drifts the asteroid belt, filled with ancient fragments left over from the birth of the solar system. These are the remnants of worlds that never fully formed. And beyond them waits Jupiter. More than 1,000 Earths could fit inside this giant planet. Yet despite its size, Jupiter is still not large enough to become a star. Instead, it became something else, a world of endless storms, crushing pressure, and depths so extreme that hydrogen itself may turn into liquid metal. But Jupiter is not the only giant hiding a mystery. Farther from the Sun, another world contains a phenomenon that scientists still struggle to fully explain. That mystery belongs to Saturn. From a distance, it appears elegant and almost peaceful, wrapped in brilliant rings that have fascinated humanity for centuries. But those rings are actually countless fragments of ice and rock racing through space at enormous speeds, forming a vast storm of debris around the planet. Beneath Saturn's cloud tops, powerful storms unleash energy on a scale difficult to imagine. Near its north pole, a giant hexagonal weather system spins endlessly, a geometric pattern unlike anything else known among the planets. And still, the journey continues outward. Here, sunlight begins to weaken. The Sun shrinks from a dominant presence into a bright star hanging in an increasingly dark sky. Uranus drifts through this twilight in a strange orientation, tilted so dramatically that it appears to roll around the sun. Entire regions can spend decades trapped in darkness, enduring some of the coldest temperatures ever measured on a planet. It feels less like a living world and more like an abandoned relic at the edge of light. But even Uranus is not the true frontier, because farther away, beyond the fading sunlight, a world of impossible winds marks the gateway to the edge of everything we know. That world is Neptune. Orbiting billions of kilometers from the Sun, Neptune receives only a fraction of the light that reaches Earth. By all logic, it should be quiet and frozen. Instead, it is one of the most violent planets in the solar system. Its atmosphere is driven by supersonic winds that can exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour, powerful enough to race across the planet faster than the speed of sound. Massive storms swirl through the darkness beneath a dim, distant sun. Beyond Neptune, the familiar structure of the solar system begins to dissolve. Here lie the dwarf planets, Pluto, Eris, Haumea, and Makemake. Small, frozen worlds wandering through the deep cold where sunlight is little more than a pale glow against the darkness. And beyond them waits interstellar space. No planets, no warm sunlight, no refuge, just an immense ocean of darkness stretching between the stars. And as we look back across the solar system, a pattern begins to emerge. Mercury was trapped in the sun's relentless grip. Venus may have once possessed oceans, only to transform into a planetary furnace. Mars appears to have lost the shield that protected its atmosphere, allowing an entire world to slowly die. Again and again, we find planets that drifted just far enough from balance to become hostile to life. Which brings us back to the question we began with. Why did Earth survive when so many other worlds did not? We still do not know every reason, but everywhere we look, the solar system reveals the same truth. A habitable world is far more fragile than it appears. After everything we have seen, perhaps the most astonishing fact is not how hostile the solar system can be. It is that on one small world, beneath a fragile veil of air, life found a way to exist at all.